Hello everyone and welcome back to New Beginnings with me, Tom B92. Last episode we spent a lot of time working with villagers, but now a building time lapse. We interrupt this time lapse because I am absolutely surrounded by pillagers who are guarding my armor off in that chest there, and I have to escape and I have to get them away from our villager breeder underneath here. After last episode's success, I want to remind you all to please like and subscribe to the channel. All your interactions with this video help out my young channel massively. So we're back down now. We've managed to deal with those pillagers. They were a right pain, as you can hear. We've got a villager breeder underneath here, so we had to move them away as soon as possible. And unfortunately, it did disrupt my time lapse, but we're finished. We've managed to finish in the roof. And how good do these shaders look? First time I've really used shaders, and it looks so good. The water looks incredible. I don't know if I'll play fully in shaders, but you know, there's some odd glimpses perhaps when we get some builds up. Obviously the lighting looks really good with shaders on, and builds do just look better in total. You can see here as we update down here. We've got our mob farm just off in the distance, so it fits perfectly here into the corner. And what I want to do now is just change up a bit of these textures. We've got some barrels, we've got some trapdoors, and we just want to change up some of these textures, probably around here in the corners, and probably not too much in the middle because we've got this nice little descent here. Here we go from a slab into this trapdoor, and that's a really nice gradual descent. I think we're just going to play around with a bit of that. We've got some barrels as well, just to add some more detail around, some more life, I guess. And what I'm thinking is there's a little hatch here you may have seen in the time lapse, and I'll probably change up a bit because I think that's a bit too high. But what I'm thinking is we're going to have a villager in here. So we've finished the docks now. We've added a few details here and there, made a little fish banner, which I think helps bring the docks to some life, and plenty of barrels obviously for the docks. Around the back end here I've added a little ship with a crane, just to add again another bit of life here. So the crane is taking out the barrel from the ship with some sails, and the crane is attached. Oh nope, it's missing a block. Again the banner's up, and then over here we've added in Harry. So Harry's our fisherman, and in the future when we get some fish trades he'll be able to take them for us. Nothing too much inside, but one detail I really did like, and this first time I've managed to use this, was the hanging plant pot. And this is definitely a Java exclusive, and this cannot be done on Bedrock. So the plant pot here isn't attached to anything, there's no block here, and it just hangs from the chain, which is a really nice touch, and I'm sure I'm going to be taking advantage of that. So what I want to do next now is bring in the path and blend that in to our build. And with the magic of editing, we are now finished. And now moving through our path, we've followed the same designs and we've managed to put in some custom trees. As you can just see over the back of my head here, we've managed to add some custom trees, and I'm really happy with how they've panned out. Last episode we left off here at our villager trading hall, very frustrated at this guy down here who wouldn't attack our villagers. A lot of research again between episodes, and we found out that all it was we needed to change the slabs that we had to trapdoors, and I have since set them all down to get converted. You'll see now this guy should get attacked if I'm more patient than I was last episode, which I think bared into that as well. But they've all now been attacked and they've all been cured, and we're getting some good deals now. We've been able to sell our pumpkins and our melons for 1 emerald, so we're starting to make a good fortune on emeralds over here. We've got a good stock of mending books because they're now only 1 emerald, and the same for some unbreaking books. We've managed to make some success here, and we're in a good position now that we can regularly come here, because another alteration between Java and Bedrock is these cures are permanent. Whereas within Bedrock, I believe they only last for 4 hours once you cure the villager. That's a positive for me here. There's less golden apples, there's less splash potion of weaknesses, which means we can now keep coming back here day after day, knowing that these are all going to be cheap. We have a few more things we want to try and accomplish this episode, and that is housing all of our animals down here. Whether we find a real home for the cows is a different story, but the sheep here, we've got a barn in mind, and we want to put an automatic wool farm underneath here. Probably somewhere out here around the back of our stables will make the most sense. We've got a little bit of clearing out to do, take down some of these trees, maybe a little bit of leveling out, but we can do that very quickly, and we can get building our second build of today's episode. So we've spent a little time here around the back. We took just the 1 layer off because I don't think we need too much, and we now have our front shape. So I think what we need to do is try and figure out how many sheep we want in here, and then get the depth so we have enough room for our sheep in here. So now we've got to bring these guys up to our base and get them in those pods, which I think is going to be a challenge. I'll likely do it off camera because I'll probably be cursing under my breath a great deal. It's like I'm the Pied Piper of sheeps. A long journey, but we got here eventually. We may have lost a few along the way, but we've managed to keep some of these odd colours, so I guess we've just got lots of dyeing to do, but not killing, dyeing, and we need to get them in their pods, so let's get to that. So out the front of our now finished build, I have to admit I'm very happy with it, with all of the details that have come together. This barn door is fantastic. The dark oak trapdoors here make a different texture, which is really nice, and I'll show you the secret use behind that side of the door as well in a minute. Up on the roof, we've managed to keep in theme. We've used the same kind of colour scheme that we have as our build, with the dark oak and the deep slate variations here, and a nice little gradual gradient here, similar to what we did down at the docks with the trapdoor. And inside we have all of our sheep in place. We've managed to get every single colour. I thought that we might struggle because we haven't really gone out and done any kind of gatherings on dyes, but we managed to piece them all together and we have them in place. These last 3 at the end here are just going to be for excess. If we ever need to get any bulk of a particular colour, then we can go ahead there and add them to that colour. They're not hooked up, so they'll just be permanently white and they can just continue eating their grass. They can be happy in their little pods. Now over here by the big barn door, which is still my favourite feature of this build, we have a little hidden secret behind. Using Java's 1 block ability and trapdoors knocking you down, we've managed to hide our access to all the storage underneath here. Just a simple knock on this dark oak trapdoor, boop, behind this spruce trapdoor, and you'll see here there's a ladder going down the bottom. And down here is all of our storage hooked up to each of the sheep that are up on above, with all their colours mapped out down here so we know which chests are what. Now I'm really happy with this build and how it's come together, and I hope you are too. And if you are, please do let me know in the comments section. Add a comment, tell me what you think, tell me if we could have changed anything, made it better. But I think now what we need to do is just add in some of those custom trees, blend it back into the path, and I think we're going to be done here. And whilst we're at it, I just want to talk to you about how I go about putting together these tiny little stick trees, and I think it's from a tutorial, maybe from a good few years ago, from Fwip on YouTube, and it's really quite simple. This one's just 5 fences tall. You stick one out on the side here, you drop down a level, you go for a different spot, and then on your last one you probably use 2, and this way you can still walk underneath it, it doesn't stop you, and you make like a T shape above them. So you stick one above the fence, one to the left and one to the right, and you follow that for each of them. Now with this one, this is probably going to be a bit bold on this side, so perhaps we actually need to move this fence around so we've got a bit of an even coverage, something like that. And then we go back to the leaves, so we add them there, we just keep adding them, just one above, one to the right, one to the left and to the right. Now with this resource pack, it does make them look a lot bushier than what they would be normally in Java. And then normally what I do try and do is just bring one off a little bit, so we kind of go down and just get that depth back, so that can come here. We'll take a step back and see what it looks like, and that looks good. I'm not too sure whether it detracts from the build. Taking off the resource pack, you can see that they are kind of bare. They're meant to be these thin trees, but with these spruce leaves, I just don't get the texture here. I think it's got to be something. Either it's ingrained in my mind that Bedrock spruce leaves are different, but I just don't remember them being so transparent and see-through. So that's why I've gone back to the resource pack, and I think it helps finish off those trees. I'm just wondering whether this one actually needs one here. It might actually need to be better to be brought out, maybe out here. And here we find ourselves back in front of our lovely barn. Today has been a jam-packed episode full of building. We've managed to get 2 builds in one episode today. And I think on that note, we will likely be ending today's episode. I want to thank you all for your time watching today's episode. Please do remember to like this video and to subscribe to the channel. All of your involvement helps out a great deal. And I will see you next time.